Welcome to round one of the Caribbean Union Bank Intersecondary School Debate Series.
Caribbean Union Bank for all your banking needs. Credit cards, savings, accounts, and CDs. POS terminals for convenience. While helping you with small business development. Whether you need help to achieve your goal, or land loans and mortgages for your dream home. Supporting many programs to help the nation's youth. CUB is always here for you. Times are changing, don't you know? CUB, you can bank on us. Whatever you need, just let us know. CUB, you can bank on us. Saving your money and your time with the quality service we provide. Banking the better way every time. CUB, you can bank on us.
CUB cares. Call us today at 481-8278. Let's talk.
Welcome to the second encounter in the 2024 Caribbean Union Bank Intersecondary School Debate Series. If you missed the first encounter between the Seventh-day Adventist Secondary and the Sir Novell Richards Academy, the Seventh-day Adventist Secondary edged out the Sir Novell Richards Academy to move on in the competition. Congratulations to them once again. This week, we have a brand new encounter. The Antigua Grammar School and the Piers Secondary School are meeting to debate the moot. Suspension is an effective punishment for students who break school rules. Suspension is an effective punishment for students who break school rules. I am your moderator, Priscilla Marsh Sutton. Let's meet the members of both of our teams this evening, the Antigua Grammar School and the Piers Secondary. We will start with the Antigua Grammar School.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tijani Seaman, and I am representing the Antigua Grammar School as the first speaker.
Good evening, everyone. I am Imari John, second speaker of the Antigua Grammar School.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jaden O'Brien, and I am the first alternate speaker for the Antigua Grammar School.
Good evening, everyone. I am Enkin Stevens, and I am the alternate speaker number 2 of Antigua Grammar School.
Thank you so much, the Antigua Grammar School. Round of applause. Don't be afraid. We are welcoming people. That was the proposition. Now it's time to meet the opposition, the Piers Secondary.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Daniel Apple Jonas, and I am the speaker for Piers Secondary School.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jada Benjamin, and I am the second speaker for the Piers Secondary School.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Michaela Brody, and I'm the first alternate speaker for Piers Secondary School.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kenique Toits, and I'm the second alternate speaker for Piers Secondary School.
Round of applause for our opposition, the Piers Secondary School. Our panel of adjudicators this evening are Katie Ann Camacho, Education Officer within the Ministry of Education, Tarika Faris, Compliance Officer at the Government of Antigua and Barbuda, and Kadeem Joseph, Political and Projects Officer, also a Communications Specialist. Round of applause for our panel of adjudicators who will decide on the team that will advance in the competition. Our alternate judge, of course, Mr. Ursel Charles Jr., who's also our chief head judge. Give him a round of applause. Our timekeeper this evening, as always, the lovely Miss Aisha Lynch. We will begin this encounter with the proposition's first speaker, to Johnny Seaman, followed by the opposition's first speaker, Daniel Athil of the Piers Secondary. We will then move on to the second speaker from each team. First speakers will be given 5 minutes for their presentations, and second speakers 3 minutes. The bell will ring once at 1 minute and twice before the allotted time expires. Following the presentations, we will move on to the rebuttals. In that segment, 3 minutes will be given to each debater. It's now time for us to take our first break. When we return, I know you're excited. So am I. The competition begins. We'll be right back.
Caribbean Union Bank for all your banking needs. Credit cards, savings, accounts, and CDs. POS terminals for convenience. While helping you with small business development. Whether you need help to achieve your goal, or land loans and mortgages for your dream home. Supporting many programs to help the nation's youth. CUB is always here for you. Times are changing, don't you know? CUB, you can bank on us. Whatever you need, just let us know. CUB, you can bank on us. Saving your money and your time with the quality service we provide. Banking the better way every time. CUB, you can bank on us.
CUB cares. Call us today at 481-8278. Let's talk.
Welcome back to the Caribbean Union Bank Inter-Secondary School Debate Series. If you're just joining us, the moot for this encounter between the Antigua Grammar School and the Pierce Secondary School is suspension is an effective punishment for students who break school rules. Suspension is an effective punishment for students who break school rules. We will now begin this encounter with the first speaker from the Antigua Grammar School. Please welcome Tajani Seaman.
Madam Moderator, honorable judges, worthy opponents, listening and viewing audience, a pleasant good evening. Today, I proudly present myself here to propose the moot. Suspension is an effective punishment for students who break school rules. To ensure that our argument is well received and understood, we will begin by defining the key terms of the moot. According to the Cambridge Dictionary, suspension is a punishment in which a person is temporarily not allowed to work, go to school, or participate in an activity. Also, in compliance with the Cambridge Dictionary, the word effective means successful or achieving the results you desire. Lastly, according to Britannica, punishment is the infliction of pain, whether physical, emotional, or mental, or loss upon a person for a misdeed. As a part of our approach to this debate, I will elaborate on the following points. Suspension can be used as a deterrent to bad behavior in students. Suspension provides an opportunity for reflection and self-correction. Suspension supports teachers and staff, and suspension teaches one accountability. While my colleague will discuss, suspension creates a space for parental involvement. Suspension serves as a way to establish an environment where behavioral intervention support can be given to affected students, and how suspension fosters empathy and understanding. Madam Moderator, let me take you on a journey through the huge world of imagination. You're in a classroom, trying to focus on your studies, but there's a student constantly disrupting the class with indecent language, not following the rules, and making it extremely difficult for everyone to focus on the task at hand. Suspension steps in as a consequence that helps maintain a positive and productive learning environment. Firstly, suspension can be used as a deterrent to bad behavior in children. When students face the consequences of being suspended, it sends a clear message that their actions have serious consequences. This can discourage others from breaking the rules, promoting a safer and more disciplined school environment. Studies have shown that suspension is effective in reducing misconduct and promoting a positive school climate. According to research conducted by the American National Center for Education Statistics, schools that implement suspension policies have reported a decrease in disruptive behavior and an increase in academic performance. Additionally, the American Psychological Association states that when students face the consequences of suspension, it can help them understand the severity of their actions and encourage them to make better choices in the future. Another reason suspension can be seen as an effective punishment for students who break school rules is that it provides an opportunity for reflection and self-correction. When students are suspended, they are given time away from the school environment to think about their actions and the consequences that result from them. This period of reflection can help them gain a deeper understanding of their behavior and motivate them to make positive changes. Research conducted by the American National Association of School Psychologists suggests that suspension can serve as a wake-up call for students, leading to improved behavior and a decreased likelihood of future rule breaking. Thirdly, implementing suspension when necessary in educational settings plays a crucial role in supporting teachers and staff in managing classroom disruptions. By enforcing disciplinary measures such as suspension, educators can effectively address disruptive behavior, thereby creating an environment conducive to learning. The American National Education Association recognizes the importance of maintaining a supportive environment for educators. This approach allows teachers to concentrate on delivering high-quality education without the constant interruption of disruptive incidents. Lastly, suspension as a disciplinary measure in educational settings serves as a tool to teach students about accountability. By enforcing consequences for rule breaking, suspension aims to make students understand the impact of their actions and take responsibility for their behavior. This approach is supported by the American Psychological Association, which emphasizes that consequences such as suspension can contribute to helping students comprehend the repercussions of their choices and behavior. In conclusion, some may argue that alternative methods could be employed, but the reality remains that suspension serves as a potent deterrent and a transformative experience for students. So let us remember that the goal is to help students grow holistically and become responsible members of society. Thank you.
Keep the applause going. That was Tijani Seaman, Team Antigua Grammar School, and he completed his presentation in a time of 4 minutes and 49 seconds. It is now time for us to hear from the opposition team, Pierce Secondary. Welcome, Daniel Athel Jonas. Round of applause.
Madam Moderator, esteemed panel of judges, my worthy opponents, good day. My colleague and I stand before you to oppose the moot which reads, suspension is an effective punishment for those who break school rules. Before we proceed with our argument, permit me to define the following key terms within the context of formal education. Cambridge Dictionary defines suspension as a punishment in which a person is temporarily not allowed to go to school. Additionally, FamilyEducation.org defines effective punishment as an immediate action that firmly communicates what has been done wrong and provides space for improvement. With this clarification of key terms, the fact is suspension should not postpone, but stop or significantly decrease negative behavior among students. Sadly, Madam Moderator, suspension therefore is not an effective punishment for those who break school rules. Madam Moderator, what do you think happens when an individual violates the laws of society? The response often hinges on the ideas of consequences. In Antigua's criminal justice system, this materializes through a little something we call 1735, an institution designed not solely for punishment, but ideally to foster growth, rehabilitation, and successful reintegration into society, aka prison. Extending this analogy to the educational system, when students are served suspension slips, whether for 2 days or 2 weeks as consequences for their actions, they are isolated from a positive educational community, and unlike the transformative journey inmates experience, are students being rehabilitated? Madam Moderator, now I've got you thinking. I will further explain how suspension is truly ineffective because it hurts everyone and masks underlying problems. Additionally, my colleague will highlight how suspension reduces student accountability, causing very little opportunity for change. Madam Moderator, the ineffectiveness of suspension has been under scrutiny even at the highest levels in Antigua. 2 ministers of education, former Minister Bertrand Joseph in 2004, and recently the Honorable Minister Darrell Matthew in 2024, have engaged in discussions about moving away from policies that include suspension and adopting more positive behavior management strategies. Our government is recognizing the potential drawbacks, and this isn't just a local concern. Other countries are not only recognizing, but also experiencing these negative effects. Solid evidence from international agencies indicates the ineffectiveness of suspension. According to the North Carolina Courts.gov, 31% of students who are suspended or expelled repeat a grade, compared to only 5% of students who are not suspended or expelled. This state has a population of over 10 million people, 100 times larger than our own. Do we really want these statistics brought to scale in our own society? But this is not just the government that this is affecting. Parents are feeling it. Teachers are frustrated by it. And the students who are not involved in issues surrounding suspension often frown upon it, especially if there is perceived injustice. It's crucial to consider the broader impact and work towards more effective and equitable strategies of our educational system. My worthy opponents, these students are hurting, so they may in turn hurt others. Unless the issues are identified, students will continue to exhibit negative behaviors. In fact, suspension does not address the issues that cause them to deviate in the first place. Yes, it may prompt parental involvement. However, many times the home environment of students in question is not considered. Suppose these students in question live in dysfunctional households where the parents are neglectful and do not pay keen attention to their child's well-being. Madam Moderator, suspension rather than resolving issues tends to isolate the child from positive social interaction. Returning them to the same environment without addressing the root problem fails to inspire positive behavioral change. Transitioning to a broader context, it's essential to recognize the diverse family dynamics in Antigua and Barbuda. The 2011 Population and Housing Census reveals that nearly 70% of children are born into non-nuclear families, with only 27% of the population legally married. These figures underscore the very family structures in our society, highlighting the necessity for nuanced and empathetic educational approaches that extend beyond the limited scope of suspension. The educational system should no longer rely on the dead-end path of suspension. It's time to redirect our efforts towards uncovering the roots of students' actions by implementing solutions that foster growth and positive change. By doing so, we can create environments where every student has the chance to succeed and thrive. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Team Pierce Secondary, come on, give them a round of applause. Yes, excellent. And he completed his presentation in a time of 5 minutes and 4 seconds. It is time for us to move on to the second speakers of each team. We'll start with the Antigua Grammar School. Please welcome Imari John.
A pleasant good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As my colleague would have stated earlier, I will be elaborating on the following points. 1, suspension creating a space for parental involvement. 2, suspension serving as a way to establish an environment where behavioral intervention support can be given to affected students. And 3, how suspension fosters empathy and understanding. First and foremost, suspension, in the context of education, can create a space for parental involvement by prompting parents to engage with their children's school regarding behavior and academic progress. In the Caribbean, suspension can catalyze increased communication between parents and schools, leading to greater parental awareness and involvement in children's education. Parental involvement in education is widely recognized as a key factor in children's education and academic success. To my worthy opponents, the Caribbean Examinations Council, CXC, conducted research that showed that for parents who are actively engaged in their child's education, these students are more likely to perform better academically and exhibit positive behavior in school. Likewise, suspension serves as a way to establish an environment where behavioral intervention support can be given to affected students. When a student is suspended, it provides an opportunity for school administrators and counselors to assess the underlying causes of their behavior and develop targeted interventions. This may include counseling, mentoring programs, or specialized support services such as the Youth Intervention Program right here in Antigua to address specific needs of the specific student. By creating this supportive environment, suspension can help facilitate behavioral changes and promote positive growth in the students who would have been suspended. Research conducted by the American National Association of School Psychologists shows that when combined with appropriate interventions, suspension can be an effective tool in addressing behavioral issues and promoting student success. Last but not least, experiencing suspension can also lead to increased empathy and understanding towards others. Students may gain insight into how their actions affect those around them, fostering a sense of responsibility, not only for themselves, but also for the well-being of their peers. A study published in the journal School Psychology found that students who faced suspension developed a greater understanding of the impact their behavior had on others. This understanding often translated into increased empathy towards their peers as they become more aware of the consequences their actions have on the well-being of others. Thank you for allowing me to air my views on this topic.
Thank you, Imari Team Antigua Grammar School. He completed his presentation in a time of 2 minutes and 44 seconds. We now move on to the opposition. Team Peers Secondary. Welcome, Jada Benjamin.
Please permit me to accept the protocols previously established. As my colleague would have so eloquently outlined the parameter of our argument and defined the key terms within the moot, it is now my responsibility to ensure that you fully understand our argument and grasp what we are trying to communicate. Madam Moderator, suspension does not put a child in a position to be held accountable. Take, for example, a third-form student at a secondary school in Antigua and Barbuda named John Doe, who has been suspended 3 times throughout the school term, each lasting 2 weeks. After being suspended constantly, John is now exhibiting even more aggressive behavior in which he directs towards his peers in the form of bullying, which led him to actively participate in violent activities. These 6 weeks of suspension caused John to miss healthy socialization along with crucial contact time. He never had the opportunity to rebuild his academic confidence, which resulted in him repeating at the end of the school year. Had we addressed John Doe's issue when it started, he might not have been suspended, and his behavior might not have progressed. There are times like these when students like John Doe lose faith in the education system, and as they are of the age to make a decision for themselves, they end up dropping out of school. What will happen to the future of our very nation if this continues? But my worthy opponents, if not suspension, then what? Over the years, most schools have re-examined their exclusionary or zero-tolerance discipline policies and modified them to what they believe to be a fairer, more inclusive, and effective approach to discipline known as restorative justice. According to the University of Wisconsin-Madison, restorative justice is a theory of justice that focuses on repairing harm and rebuilding relationships rather than just simply punishing the student. Instead of exclusion, this approach encourages dialogue, empathy, and accountability. Additionally, Madam Moderator, instead of turning our backs on these offenders, we could implement positive behavioral management to encourage school environments to become more positive and reflective. This is part of the Effective School Framework, a key strategy promoted by child-friendly organizations such as the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund. These methods aim to address the root causes of the behavior, find solutions, and restore a sense of community within the school. These alternative methods have also proven to enhance school morale. Furthermore, Madam Moderator, a survey was done among school administrators and students of 4 local secondary schools, gauging their perspective on the effectiveness of suspension, with 71.4% contending that suspension is ineffective, and upwards of 80% considering suspension as a cheap and easy vacation. This is a clear demonstration that we, the individuals that this is established for, don't even take it seriously. If this isn't proof enough of the ineffectiveness of suspension, then I don't know what is. I conclude by stressing the point that suspension is not an effective way to punish students who break the school rules. I thank you.
Thank you, Jada. That was Jada Benjamin, Team Peers Secondary School, and she completed her presentation in a time of 3 minutes and 7 seconds. I think it's fair to say that both teams deserve a bigger round of applause. Come on, yes. For doing an exceptional job. We're going to take a break to hear from our sponsor, Caribbean Union Bank. When we return, the rebuttals. Stay with us.
Caribbean Union Bank for all your banking needs. Credit cards, savings, accounts, and CDs. POS terminals for convenience. While helping you with CUB is always here for you. Times are changing, don't you know? CUB, you can bank on us. Whatever you need, just let us know. CUB, you can bank on us. Saving your money and your time with the quality service we provide. Banking the better way every time. CUB, you can bank on us.
CUB cares. Call us today at 481-8278. Let's talk.
Welcome back to the 2024 CUB Inter-Secondary School Debate Series. If you're just joining us, the Antigua Grammar School and Pierce Secondary are meeting to debate the moot. Suspension is an effective punishment for students who break school rules. The rebuttal segment is about to begin. We will begin with the opposition's team. Each presenter will be given 3 minutes in which to complete their presentation. The bell will ring once at the beginning of the final minute and twice when the maximum allotted time would have expired. To begin the rebuttals, from the Pierce Secondary School, please welcome Daniel Athel Jonas.
Madam Moderator, esteemed judges, my worthy opponents, good day. At my school, we have a motto, true knowledge is light. This motto is echoed through the hall every single day. It serves to show the point that with this true knowledge, we need to shed a vibrant light on the ones who really need it. The opposition states that suspension is good, that suspension is just and effective. This is not right. What suspension really does is isolate students from their communities. When sent home, the students are not thinking about rehabilitation and restitution, but instead how they're going to get back or how they're going to, hurt or accomplish different things that are not positive. This is done because students are not understood when sent home. They're sent home because of minor instances, like maybe you disrespected the teacher. Instead of asking the students what went wrong, what did they do about it, and what are the different solutions they can find, we send them home alone. Another point that our opposition brought up was controlling students. They said that students who fear suspension, not really, they said that because of suspension, students are more likely to not commit these offenses that break school rules. This is also not a good point, because what suspension does is put the students in fear of a punishment. And when people are in fear, they may learn, but not through their experiences, but through trauma. And learning through trauma is always bad, because later down the line, when these students are growing up, they're not going to be able to speak their mind and talk about what they feel, because they're going to remember that time when they were younger, when they were suppressed, when somebody told them not to speak. Fear is not a solution, and neither is isolation. Another point that I have is that we conducted a survey, my team and I conducted a survey around the school and other administrators. And 97% of students stated that they would do the offense that got them in trouble again. This is probably because they were not addressed or were not talked to about what happened. This does not cite behavioral change. It does not encourage people or students to do different. It does not encourage them to be better, but to be fit in a box where they're told they're bad and to stick to that box. We are often put in labels, often told we're bad apples, often told we're not good enough. And I strongly disagree with this. Instead, we should strive to establish systems that put students in a good place. We should make them flourish and thrive, forever flourishing, always flourishing together. Semper Violence, my friends, Semper Violence.
That was Daniel Athel Jonas, Team Peers Secondary, and he completed his rebuttal in a time of 3 minutes and 14 seconds. To end the rebuttals, we will hear from the proposition, the Antigua Grammar School, Imari John. Welcome him.
Madam Moderator, honorable judges, viewing and listening audience, I am once again awarded the pleasure to stand before you to rebut my opponent's argument. I would like to start by reiterating a piece of Daniel Attil's, the first speaker of Peers Secondary School's argument, and I quote, "Yes, it may induce parental involvement." Now, I continue by quoting the second speaker, something the second speaker said. "Suspension is a cheap and easy vacation." Let us remember that schools host in-school suspension, and counselors are to refer the suspended children out to the youth intervention program, which I stated earlier, where the children are counseled and supervised by officers of the Antigua and Barbuda police force and also certified counselors. Secondly, the opponent stated that suspension hurts everyone. Let us shed a light on the fact that the students are reminded constantly of the rules of the schools and what to do, what not to do, and what you get demerits for, and how many demerits you get which lead to suspension. The children are aware of suspension and what they can do and what they shouldn't do to prevent being suspended. I thank you.
Thank you, Team Antigua Grammar School, the proposition, Imari John. He completed his rebuttal in a time of 1 minute and 23 seconds. Round of applause for both our teams. This brings us to the end of the second encounter in the first round of the Caribbean Union Bank Inter-Secondary School Debate Series. We will be taking a break. On the other side of the break, we'll hear from the judges. We'll be right back.
Caribbean Union Bank for all your banking needs. Credit cards, savings, accounts, and CDs. POS terminals for convenience. While helping you with small business development. Whether you need help to achieve your goal. Mortgages for your dream home. Supporting many programs that help the nation's youth. CUB is always here for you. Times are changing, don't you know? CUB, you can bank on us. Whatever you need, just let us know. CUB, you can bank on us. Saving your money and your time with the quality service we provide. Banking the better way every time. CUB, you can bank on us.
CUB cares. Call us today at 481-8278. Let's talk.
Thank you for staying with us. The Antigua Grammar School and the Peers Secondary School met in this encounter. The judges have deliberated and tallied their scores. To bring us the judges' report and to announce the winning team, please welcome Judge Tarika Ferris.
Madam Moderator, debaters, judges, viewing, and in-studio audience, good evening. It is my honor to bring you the judges' report for this evening's encounter, but before we get to the scores, allow me to provide some feedback to our debaters this evening. The judges felt that overall, a commendable effort was made by both schools in the proposition and the opposition of the moot. Suspension is an effective punishment for students who break school rules. A few positives. We found that there was a good use of voice modulation, good use of rhetorical questioning as well, and there was an overall creativity of each team's approach to the topic. We also want to commend the debaters for their poise and their confidence this evening as well. And now a few areas where we would like to see some improvement. Though we commend the quality of the research and references used throughout this evening's debate, we would have loved to have seen a better use of local research in support and opposition of the moot. We also would like to encourage the schools to develop a clear outline of the structure in your introduction. Where the rebuttals are concerned, we're also hoping to see some improvements here, especially where your structure is also concerned, and ensuring that this is clearly outlined by each team. Okay, so those were our comments. I will now move on to the scores and the results for this evening. We would like to congratulate the best speaker for the proposition, the Antigua Grammar School, Imari John. And the best speaker for the opposition, the Pierce Secondary School, Jada Benjamin. And so for the scores. With 69 points, we have the Pierce Secondary School. And we have the Antigua Grammar School with 78 points, making them this evening's winner. So congratulations. Congratulations to the Antigua Grammar School, and we'll also like to say congratulations to the Pierce Secondary School. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ferris, for the judges' report. Another round of applause for both of our teams, and a hearty round of applause for the Antigua Grammar School, our winners of the second encounter. Now it's time for our closing remarks, and we will start with the Pierce Secondary School. Please welcome Jada Benjamin.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to extend a heartfelt thank you, firstly, to God, because without him, nothing would be possible, because we're made of flesh, meat, blood. It wouldn't be made without him. Amen. Amen. I'd like to also thank the judges, the camera crew. Y'all doing a great job. And with making us feel comfortable, I must say, you're doing excellent. So, again, I'd like to thank the judges, the camera crew, ABS, my team, and my trainer, as teamwork makes the dream work. I'd like to, my worthy opponents. I'm so sorry that sounds rude. My worthy opponents, thank you for such a fun, interactive debate. Lastly, I'd like to express a heartfelt gratitude to the Caribbean Union Bank for their continued support and contribution towards the debating series.
Thank you so much, Jada. It is now time to hear from the winning school, the Antigua Grammar School. Please welcome Tijani Seaman.
Good evening, once again, everyone. Firstly, I'd like to thank God, as he's always had a tremendous impact in my life. I'd also like to thank Madam Moderator, the worthy judges, the viewing audience, and the listening audience, and my worthy opponents who brought an amazing fight to the table. Props to you. I'm serious, no. As I close, as my worthy opponents attempted to say, Semper Wirens, always flourishing. Thank you, fellas.
Thank you, Antigua Grammar School, Tijani Seaman. That item brought us to the end of our second encounter in the first round of the CUB Intersecondary School Debate Series. Congratulations once more to both of our teams for doing an outstanding job. Wouldn't you agree? Excellent. Thank you also to you, our studio audience and our television audiences, for ensuring that the intersecondary school debate is always on your calendar weekly. Remember, it happens every week at the same time. Be sure to join us next week for a brand new encounter when the St. Joseph's Academy takes the Clear Hall Secondary School. That's all the time we have for this encounter. I'm your moderator, Priscilla Marsh Sutton. Until next time, stay positive.